One day, something happened that you absolutely wouldn't believe. He always had this feeling of being able to predict future events, and incredibly, the very next day, it was all confirmed with concrete evidence. Jerome finally spilled a long hidden secret. His mom could predict the future and had even foretold the disaster location, but she went mad and ended up in a mental hospital. If in like her, could my dream of an old couple's murder come true? To save the neighbors, Jerome's girlfriend got dragged along to warn the old couple who didn't believe him, and they planned a beach vacation. To rescue them, Jerome's family tagged along, but before finding the old couple, Kylie suddenly spotted a cat. She insisted on exploring with her sister. Jerome was so done waiting to be serious. But a few minutes later, only the girl was stuck inside, claiming her brother was acting super weird. When Jerome rushed in, he saw Kylie standing there like a zombie, totally blank. He called her a few times before she snapped back. They hurriedly drove home. Things won't be that bad in the future, but Jerome couldn't sleep again and played the piano as usual. Suddenly, something felt off. He noticed blood on his fingers, and the piano was making weird noises. Curious little Jerome opened the piano and found his girlfriend stuffed inside, all bruised and barely hanging on. Jerome was momentarily dumbfounded, clueless, when suddenly he woke up. He thought it was all a dream, but Judy's scars confirmed this was no illusion. Jerome decided to take the kids out for some fun when, bam, phone call. Turns out the previous tenant was an animal scientist, but the neighbors thought he was peeping, leading to a brawl. Strange though, Jerome asked neighbors who didn't know the tenant, so he sought the truth. Jerome found a tenant who, while bird watching, accidentally spotted something jaw-dropping through a neighbor's window. He saw them hiding a gun in a greenhouse, and then a truck rolled in with 4 armed guys jumping out. The old man realized he was spied on and threatened them to leave, suspecting it was linked to his neighbors. He sneaked into the old man's back out, found a gun in a drawer as the tenant said, but got locked in before reacting. Jerome demanded to know who owned the gun, but the old man stayed silent, dragging him to a boat and answering all of Jerome's questions. Turns out Sousa, a drug lord, did nefarious deeds to protect his turf, even taunting the police. And the old man's current wife, Ellie, was Sousa's lackey. Arrested while delivering, she had him as her defense lawyer. Revealed Sousa's whereabouts, and the cops would give her a new identity. The drug lord hid, freeing Ellie. Before long, she fell in love with the old man, and they hid in a mountain shack to escape Sousa's retaliation. And those 4 hunters the tenant saw were actually the police, informing the old man that Sousa was dead, so no more hiding in fear. The old man's story cleared his suspicions. Jerome drove home, pondering whether he might be losing his mind. Suddenly, he spotted a truck rolling in and quickly hopped back on the telescope. He witnessed a hair-raising scene. Jeff was brutally murdering the neighbor, and it was an exact replica of the terrifying scene from his dream. Meanwhile, the animals were freaking out, and then he saw the neighbor's old lady limping towards him, clutching her wound. Jerome swiftly opened the door, and once more, the haunting memory resurfaced in his mind. He embraced the old lady once again and carried her inside the room, and precisely the next second, bang. The old neighbor might have just been killed. Just as he wanted to check, he saw the killer approaching him and hurried back to the room. He woke up his closest family members and drove away from the villa. However, when he glanced ahead once more, everything that had just transpired appeared to be nothing more than an illusion. The sky was clear, marks on his wrist vanished. Returning, the old lady was gone. The wet hair reflected in the mirror, and astonishingly, not the slightest trace of water droplets could be seen. This realization dawned on him that Judy's kidnapping last time was indeed not a mere illusion of his mind. 8 years ago, Judy moved to the big city, unknowingly stepping into danger. Myril took her to a music party, and Judy was smitten by a handsome guy. After a drunken night, she refused Myril's request, her most regrettable decision ever. The handsome guy led Judy to an empty basement, and she had no idea what was about to unfold. Turns out that guy was secretly recording her, and when she tried to grab her phone and flee, little did she know that misfortune awaited her. She endured relentless torture, time seeming endless. As the bald guy approached again, she mustered her last strength to fight back. She smashed the bald guy with the bottle and slammed him against the glass, leading to his unexpected death. All present were shocked, realizing things had spiraled out of control. To avoid getting caught by the cops, they decided to kill Judy. She was tied up, and they planned to dispose of her body too. Fortunately, Judy managed to escape, albeit only fainting. When she woke up, she heard them planning to toss her into a reservoir, and her survival instinct kicked in, making her ignore any pain. She cut her bonds through self-harm with sheer desperation, and miraculously escaped this terrible ordeal. Just as she left, those guys came back to handle the bodies, and Judy ran frantically down the road, screaming for help. Eventually, they got what they deserved, but her life had already been completely ruined. At this moment, her son Bruno once again found himself lost in a trance, and the situation seemed even worse, as he claimed to have seen a monster wearing a mask identical to what Alex had witnessed. But Judy still believed no one could truly encounter future events, unless maybe she accidentally told him, or he overheard her sleep talk. Ultimately, Judy persuaded Alex to see a doctor, who said it's just the brain playing tricks.